You have to understand that in life, some people were never shown love as a child. They were never taught love. So it's unrecognizable. All they were taught is how to survive. So when they find themselves in a relationship with someone, the only default mechanism they have to revert to or refer to is that default mechanism of survival. And invariably, their partner's heart will be broken. The whole inherent dilemma with some people that are enablers is that they pacify, condone, make excuses, defend, and enable the behaviors of these types of individuals, allowing them to continue on and do it. You teach people how to treat you. So if you're teaching somebody it's okay to abuse you, then, you get what you ask for. And you can't expect people to feel sorry for yourself. Evidently and clearly, there's an absence of self-love there. For whatever reason in your own life that you allow this type of behavior and you have deemed it acceptable and permitting it and allowing it. So, what you're putting in is what you're allowing. So that's what you're getting back out of it. You're telling the person it's okay to abuse me. I'll just keep standing here and taking it and I won't do anything about it because I don't love myself. I don't respect myself and I don't honor myself enough to stop this abuse. I'll just keep enabling your toxic behavior. I've said it before. If arguing becomes the default setting for your relationship, perhaps it's time you reevaluate who you're with and why you're with them. Because arguing is never healthy for any relationship. Communication is. You have to understand how somebody treats you is how they feel about you. So if they treat you disrespectfully, that's how they feel about you. So since they don't appreciate you, they don't deserve you. So it's up to you to take yourself out of that toxic situation because that is not a relationship. That is not a relationship. You can't fault them for what they do not have. They don't know any better. They haven't been shown in life what love is because they come from a broken, toxic, dysfunctional family. So you can't expect them to have something or show you something that they don't. That's why you can't expect them to change because they don't know any better. You have to accept people for who and what they are at face value if you're willing to enter into a relationship with them. It's just that simple. You can't just, have somebody come on board and say, okay, you're going to be exactly what I want you to be. And you're going to try to force that person to change against their free will, against their nature, against the intrinsic character of who they are. You can't expect that. Like I've said in a previous video, never expect anything from anyone and you'll never be disappointed. It's just common sense, really. It is a relationship, not an ownership. It's supposed to be a partnership. Every relationship should be built upon the foundation of friendship first. Trust, honesty, all of that. Partnership. It's not an ownership. It's not an ownership. You don't own your partner. Just like parents think they own their children, like they could just order them around like little robots. These are little tiny individual souls that have a life of their own. They're not little slaves. And what happens is because the parents are so angry because they came from a toxic family as a child, they pass that cycle of violence on to their kids. Like my father treated me like garbage, so now I'm going to treat you like garbage because even though the body is 30 years old, the mind is still a 2-year-old locked in those experiences from the past. And that's exactly what it is. So, you got to understand something. There's a lot of people in this world who were never shown love or kindness or compassion or affection or anything. So you can't fault them because the environment that they grew up in, the atmosphere, the society, the family, it just reinforced more of the same toxicity and, dysfunctional behaviors, alcoholism, whatever happens in that family. And that is what they see as normal. If you grew up in a house where the people are hoarders or, alcoholics or pedophiles or whatever, and a child doesn't know any better. So they're going to construe this as the way life is because they don't have anything to contrast against it. There's no outside force debating this or bringing any type of, frame of reference to say, wait a minute, this is not normal, this is abnormal. So when you grow up in an environment or a society or in a neighborhood that's toxic and dysfunctional, and all you know is that, to you that is normal until you have something that contrasts this. And then you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was the only way it is. No, my friend, you were wrong. But I thought that this was love, because it's unfortunate. These kids nowadays, they think toxicity is love. They think the worse they get treated, the more the person loves them. And that's how backward and upside down their mentality it is. All these guys with tattoos on their necks and they treat women like they're trash. They think that's love. These poor young females, and they're also responsible for allowing that behavior to occur. It's a two-way street. If you don't love yourself, you're going to let everybody abuse you because you're abusing yourself. So it's no different because you are the worst abuser of your own life, more so than anyone else. And that's something that people don't want to face. But like what I was saying, you can't fault somebody for what they don't have, they don't possess, and they've never known. Just like when you came into this world, they didn't inform you of who and what you really are because it doesn't work to their favor to tell you these things. Because then you're not going to be obedient and you're not going to be a follower. And you're not going to be assimilated. You're going to be an individual. And that's a threat to a system of conformity and assimilation. It doesn't work in their favor to tell you who and what you really are, cosmically speaking, metaphysically speaking. You're just A, B, and C with a social security number and a barcode and a toe tag, and just get to work and keep your mouth shut, pay your taxes, do what you're supposed to do, and die an early death. And then they're on to the next. And people, they slip into that comfort zone because they're creatures of comfort and they're too afraid to live their dreams. They just exist in fear their whole life, and then they die with this bucket list that was never realized. That's on them because they're too busy abusing themselves. Because when you exist in fear, you're surrendering your energy to an external source. Let me say that again. When you exist in fear, you are surrendering your energy to an external source, meaning that you are not in control of your life. Somebody else is controlling you. So you can't dance around that truth. But nonetheless, before I end the video, just saying, listen, if you find yourself in a situation with a person that's continuously toxic and dysfunctional and abusive, it's time to cut them loose. If not, then you're just asking for this type of thing. Some people are masochists. Some people like pain and being treated like garbage, because that's all they know. That's normal to them. They cannot identify affection or recognize love because it has never been shown to them before. Why do you think this society reveres cruelty and violence and discourages love and affection? Because love is the most powerful energy that God has ever created, and affection heals and raises vibrations. When was the last time violence and cruelty did anything beneficial for humanity or anything in general? Ask yourself that question because there is no answer.